you have to action upon it yourself as well, because talking about it is all well and good. It's an important step, but if you don't do anything with it after talking about it, it's just there. It's like, everybody knows that you're struggling, but if you're not doing anything about it, it's only going to get worse. The image that the worker has for the corporate upstairs is like, it's never been any worse than it is. Obviously, like with the cost of living crisis, but obviously if you're a manager or director of a company, you probably haven't noticed the cost of living crisis. And it's like, for the companies to give something back where they're actively helping their workforce, life is never linear, is it? It's always ups and downs, and it has been difficult. And like, if you go down, it's like everything goes down, doesn't it? Like my business goes down, my marriage is probably going to go down, and then you've got no motivation to get yourself back up. There's no real reason for you to get up, because everything you had is gone. So it's even more important just to have that anchor within yourself to keep yourself up.
All right, I am here with James, personal trainer, mental personal trainer, mental health personal trainer extraordinaire.
Yep.
So obviously there's a lot of facets to your bow here. We've got a mental health coach. Is that correct? Would you say you're a mental health coach?
Yeah, the way I like to explain it to people is it's online coach and life coach, kind of all rolled into one, like a hybrid thing, essentially.
Yeah, and obviously there's some personal training behind as well. Do you also coach your clients and do like one-to-one PTs, or has that kind of phased out?
I'm not really taking on new face-to-face. I have like 3 remaining clients that I do face-to-face. Just think to be able to, my time is better served online. I can help more people. Yeah. So obviously, it's like the phasing out of the face-to-face and solely going online.
So obviously the personal training business as a whole is very, very competitive, and you get a lot of people parting wisdom that is not true. Like how do you feel about the industry as a whole?
I think based on obviously I have a very unique niche, I guess, in within a very saturated market, and obviously based on my personal experience, like the fabrication of like false promises, like really great to me, because it's almost like you're playing with people's lives. They're entrusting you they're investing in you with money, with the proviso that you're going to get them this amazing result that you know it isn't true, and obviously ultimately they're going to learn at some point down the road that it isn't true and it's not going to get there. But they won't blame the coach; they'll blame themselves, and obviously then it's the effect that you can have on their well-being, essentially, like how they see themselves, like their self-esteem, their self-confidence, the fact they're a failure. Like, he's promised me this, I haven't achieved it, therefore I'm to blame, when obviously it wasn't. You said that you got given like an insurmountable goal that you were never going to achieve, just to attract your money, essentially. And obviously that's whereby that you end up looking at things, and it's like, obviously, the word like charlatans gets banded around a lot, and it's there are people out there, but there's people like that in every industry. It's difficult, because there are, if everyone had like the sort of life experiences that I kind of had, the way I see things, I don't think things would be half as bad as they were, because obviously the way I come with things is sympathy, empathy, and ultimately instilling like a life back into that person, or giving them that confidence, or giving them that self-belief that they are good enough. The road may be longer than what you would do with another coach, because obviously I'm not just looking at the physical, I'm looking at the mental as well. But obviously, like what they learn along the way, that they wouldn't need to use another coach, obviously within 6 months to a year. Okay.
So let's circle back, obviously, what you said about the journey, and kind of how you got to being who you are today. So, and obviously, like I've seen in your videos, you do preach that this is not a short journey. This does take time. This does take consistency.
Yeah.
What's your journey? Tell us a bit about yourself.
Obviously I never envisaged that I was going to be a PT. Never realised. I thought I didn't even know really what the gym was, like growing up as a kid. Obviously I was very privileged, went to private school and whatnot with my parents, obviously giving me the best start in life. And my dad was a goalkeeper. Obviously when I was born, and obviously from the age of like 3 or 4, I remember going to watch him play, and it was like, see, people say about like goalkeepers are there like that's the crap position. Like, no one wants to go in goal, but it was like seeing my dad was incredible, and it was like to see him pull off saves and everyone like cheering him at the end when he's like either saved a penalty or saved a shot that you shouldn't have saved, and it's one in the game. It's like I've always looked up to my dad, and it was like to be in that position. It's like I want to do that.
Yeah.
I want that camaraderie, and I want that like acknowledgement and stuff. So obviously my dad taught me from like the age of like 4. So I played for the same team that my dad did, just to like under 6s or whatever it was. And obviously it was quite noticeable early on that I was really good at it.
Okay.
So I played for my town, played for my county, and then at the age of 7, I got scouted by Charlton Athletic.
Oh, amazing! Okay.
Yeah, which was brilliant. And obviously that took up 10 years of my life. So from 7 to 17, I used to train. Obviously, well, it's 4 days a week, 3 days training, and then obviously then a match on a weekend. And yeah, it was kind of like mapped out. Like you hear all the stories about like I was going to make it.
Yeah.
And it literally was up until you signed a professional contract. Yeah. So every year, contract was renewed, come back, brilliant, love what you're doing. I think at 14 I was made captain, which is obviously rare for a goalkeeper. And and obviously at 17, when you went into, I still have it in my head now, in the clubhouse at Charlton's training ground, and you were just called one by one to go into a room with your coaches to talk about signing you. So everyone, first people called have all come out and they've been signed up. It's like, oh God, if I get called next, it's a good sign.
Yeah.
So you get called, and it was just like we love you. I've been here for ages. Like, you're really good. We just don't think you have what it takes. Obviously, like my height was an issue. I was a late. So like I'm 6'4" now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I was gonna say.
Yeah, which is again I think that's something that gutted me for years. Like one of the reasons why they didn't pick me. I was I think I was about 5'7". So to being a goalkeeper, you got to be imposing. There's not many goalkeepers that are under 6 foot, and obviously it's at that age, well not that age, in football, the pool of people to choose from is so big that it's only less than 1% make it.
Wow.
So if you don't tick a box. Yeah. It doesn't matter how good you are, if you don't tick a box, you're too much of a risk. Oh, wow. Like so, and obviously that's how it was. But the aftercare was non-existent. Like 10 years of 4 days a week, not signed, off you go. Yeah. Just go back to whatever life you had before, and it was like I didn't have a life before. It's always this is all I've known. And obviously at school, I was known as the football guy that was going to make it, and obviously to go back to school and felt like a bit of a failure. Felt like I'd failed my parents and whatnot. So that was like the first setback. And then I left school the following year because I didn't do very well in my A levels. So I had to leave school to go to college, and that was like another upheaval, leaving my friends. Yeah. And then when I started college, my nan passed away. And it was like those 3 again, privileged upbringing, no setbacks, hadn't had to deal with any adversity in my life, and it's like those 3 things happened in the space of about 18 months, and I couldn't deal with it. And obviously back then it wasn't about, you don't talk about it. So obviously I'm 35 now, and this was at 17. So you're talking 17, 18 years ago, where there was no such thing as mental health, or like it's good to talk. Obviously, like when my nan passed away, it was my mum's mum. She took it really hard because she'd already lost a dad like a few years prior, so it was like she didn't have any parents, and it was just like a taboo subject. If I brought it up, mum got upset. Therefore, don't bring it up. So I just internalized all this feelings and of like failure and not being able to control what was happening to me, and like my life was mapped out, and in the space of just over a year, it was like I've got nothing now. It's like, what do I do? Yeah. And that's how the eating disorder started. Okay. Started running, just to obviously run away from my problems, from what the therapist has said, and then I'd started to cut back on what I was eating. Right. So yeah, and obviously that initially started out as anorexia, and then after about a year, it then changed to bulimia, where obviously I was then eating food, just making myself sick, and obviously that's when my health just started to plummet. So okay, so this is actually a different type of eating disorder that we're not really too kind of streamlined with. We're not talking about eating to get put on weight and just like balloon out. We're talking about anorexia. We're talking about bulimia. Yeah. So you actually went the reverse way and was just like, mentally you just got super slim, let's just say. Yeah. So
and this was all within an 18-month period post, obviously, Charlton Athletic.
Yeah.
So from that point, how did you manage to pull yourself out of that dark place?
So it wasn't until I was 27. So I literally had it for 10 years.
Oh wow. Okay.
Obviously at my worst at 21 I was 5.5 stone.
Okay.
So again, being 6'4",
6'4",
5.5 stone, like my parents had to sign a do not resuscitate form when I was in hospital.
Right.
Obviously I was high risk of going into cardiac arrest, and I was never like suicidal, and it's not never like I didn't want to be here, just didn't care. Wow. Just had I was just numb to everything. It become like someone that goes to the gym now and is very much routine and structured, and they will do anything they can to go to the gym because it's part of them. They'll find the time in the day. Yeah. Whereas obviously my routine was so negative and toxic, but I'd done it for so long that it was normal for me. So like anyone that challenged me on it, it was like, who are you? Who are you to challenge? What I'm doing is fine. Obviously it wasn't. I was slowly killing myself. But it wasn't until I got back into work.
Okay.
Because I never had a purpose. I never had a purpose before, and I've explained like the bulimia and my eating disorder is like Stockholm syndrome. Right. Like I was a hostage to it. Essentially, it had taken over my thoughts and whatnot, and like it left me with, I was too ill to work. I didn't have relationships with anybody. Had no friends. Relationship with my parents was awful. But because it was the only thing I had, if I got rid of it, I was nothing. I had no identity then. Right, okay. And obviously that's how it kept me in the clutch. But obviously I went into a eating disorder unit for like 6 months to get therapy and treatment, and that kind of kick-started my recovery. But it wasn't until I got back into work and actually got a job and had routine. So obviously it was like being at a place at a certain time and for a certain period of time and doing a job and having people rely on me. It was like that just gave me that self-worth.
So what was that job that kind of started to, get you to version 2.0?
That was the start of it. So I worked as a business development manager for like a double glazing company.
Okay.
Which I'd done sales, obviously in and around before my eating disorder was that bad and I couldn't work. I was doing sales jobs, but obviously where I was too consumed by food, I'd never see out my probation period. So it'd be a few months here, a few months there. So obviously that was a negative like reinforcement for me as well. But obviously working there, I felt I regained my purpose. I had structure, which is I think things that men need structure and a purpose in their life. Otherwise you just go around aimlessly. And then there was I got an opportunity to move up to Sheffield. Obviously this was when I was still living in Maidstone. Got a chance to move up to Sheffield for a new job, which I decided to take, like a big like sink or swim moment. And then I got made redundant after 6 months. Oh, wow. So I moved like 300 miles up north, and then 6 months later, no job. And that's when I met a girl after that. First girl that I ever loved. Was with her for just over a year and living with her. And then she broke up with me via WhatsApp.
Oh, God. Right.
Always classy.
Yeah.
But that was the catalyst. I had to, up until the recovery from my eating disorder, that was obviously maybe like a couple of years. I'd had no setbacks in that time. Yeah. And obviously being able to share my life with someone, with how secretive an eating disorder is, you shut yourself off from everyone, to live with this woman and then for her to reject me, I didn't go back down. I didn't use it as a relapse. I had every right. I had every reason to, not every right. I had every reason to, but instead I just thought, I don't look like a man. That's the reason why she's done it, because I got no closure. It was just sent me a message. I want you to leave. That's it. So I drew my own conclusions, and obviously that's when I didn't feel I looked like a man. I wasn't that macho protector, it's the stereotypical man. So it's like, I've got to sort myself out. I've got to go to gym. I've got to look bigger. I've got to feel bigger. And if I am bigger, she'll want me back. And obviously then, like most guys in here, that if they've been in the gym, you catch the gym bug, and it becomes incredibly addictive to see your body change. And obviously I committed to that. I told my dad, I'm gonna quit my job, and just trust me. I want to live in the gym for a year. I want to do like a year of self-development. Obviously my dad's answer to that was like, you're fucking mad. Like obviously any just looking at the money, the finances side of things. But so I did, and obviously I eat, slept and breathed the gym, and obviously in 18 months I went from 9.5 stone to 15 stone.
Wow. Okay.
And obviously tracked my journey on Instagram. Not as a, obviously it's brilliant now for the
Yeah.
like the numbers and stuff. It was more the accountability.
Yeah.
Like if I'm putting myself out there, my competitiveness from Charlton and early on, don't want to seem like a failure. I
Yeah.
don't want to be seen like a failure again. So if I put this up that I'm going to do this, I have to do it. I have to stick to it. So it was like workout videos, transformation pics, and obviously then that then just developed into obviously in 2019 becoming a qualified PT.
Yeah.
So I had like loads of people like train me, and it was like, oh, hang on a minute. Like I really love the gym. It's become my new. It's like a passion that's turned into like an obsession, positive obsession.
Yeah.
And then it's like I've got all these people asking me to train them. So it was like light bulb moment. I'll just do this as a job. And obviously that's how it really started. The start of the essence of what I do now started back in like February 2019.
Wow. Okay, so what the part that puzzles me is that in the years after Charlton, from 17 to 27, there's a big period. Obviously, you've been in and out of work, and there's been many things, like you said, mental health was not really spoken about.
Yeah.
Was there apart from your parents, obviously, was there nobody in your workplace that just had a talk with you and said, listen, I understand what's going on? Yeah. Did anyone actually come and pull you aside?
No. See, I think like it was just the society at the time. There wasn't anything. The jobs I did were all sales jobs. So it was like just sell, like on the phones, hammering the phones.
Yeah.
Like in that environment probably wasn't right for me for what I was going through. But it's all I knew. So it was like, oh, if that doesn't work, I'll get another sales job.
Right.
So, but obviously that it's a high pressure job, which is probably the worst thing when you're struggling with your mental health.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously that in hindsight, would you go back and change it? I won't change anything I did. But I think at that level of sales, when it is just a results based industry, no one cares about you as a person. It's what you're delivering. And that's not. I'm not saying that it's their fault. See, it was my own stuff that I was dealing with, and I just think it was everyone for themselves in a sales job, isn't it? Okay. So it wasn't. No one ever like you're right. Like, nah. And obviously, even back then, I don't know what my weight was, but I looked ill.
Yeah.
Like really gaunt and just like pale and anemic and whatnot. And but obviously, no one. They probably had talking about me behind my back, like you do, like the water cooler moments that they have in work. But yeah, no one addressed it.
Wow. Okay.
To me. But yeah, I wasn't even addressing it to myself. So I would have denied it. I'm fine. Yeah. Like it's the standard reply, isn't it? When you feel like you're dying inside, I'm fine, mate. Don't worry about me. Yeah. I'm all right. So yeah.
And then obviously we have the birth of kind of, the PT side, the birth of, the gym and all that kind of stuff. But obviously that's now turned into a flourishing business. So how did it go from, being a gym addict and then going in there just pumping weights to now being an inspirational, motivator, someone that people look to on Instagram? How did we get from one to the other?
Again, it goes back to like adversity. Obviously, I was just. I won't just say I was just, because that's like demeaning to people that work in a gym. But I was doing the face-to-face PTs in a gym. Obviously, I did that while I was doing some like modelling and extra work, which was like the random people you see in the background of like soaps. That was me.
Okay.
Hi. Yeah. So that again, that was like experiences. That was just like, how have I got here? And it was like that. It was like the universe kind of rewarding you for sorting your head out. Like how have I got here? Like a few years ago, I was like in a hospital bed, and now I'm working with all these like celebrities. It's like, it's crazy, but it spurs you on. But so I was a face-to-face in-house PT, and then the adversity was I broke my leg playing football in December 2019. Literally just before, it was like 28th of December, so in between Christmas and New Year. I was out of action for like 6 weeks. Back playing football again. Like I fractured my left leg in 2 places. Was 6 weeks back playing football. Second game back, I broke my right leg in 4 places.
Oh wow.
And that was in end of February. So I was in hospital. I was let go just before lockdown. In a cast for like 7 months. Was told I was clinically healed. Came out the cast. It broke again. So it was like 3 leg breaks in about 8 or 9 months. Obviously this was during the the pandemic as well.
Yeah.
So whether there was a lockdown or not, I would have been in the same position at home, because I obviously got quite long legs, and my leg was literally fixed, like from toe to upper thigh in a cast. And that kind of first leg break was fine. Second leg break, remember the start of lockdown, it was like summer. It was like everyone had a free holiday. Yeah. Although you were locked down, the weather was like brilliant. So I was laying on my balcony getting suntan. Like I looked like I'd been away, and obviously like leg was screwed, but it's like sun was out. I was limping around doing like despite hospital's advice, I was trying to do like 2 miles a day on my crutches. I bought a set of weights and a bench when I was in hospital, so luckily that was a right investment, that, because that fucking quadrupled in price by the time I got it. So I was doing as much as I could. Yeah. Like that's what one of my mottos: do what you can when you can with what you got. And obviously that's like, I couldn't do anything lower body, but I could do upper body, and I tried to keep the same routine as much as possible, despite being in lockdown. The third leg break was just I went into like a pretty dark place. It was like a woe is me story. Like once is bad enough, twice is like really bad, because the fact it was the other leg as well. And like 3 leg breaks, it's just like, I can't deal with this. Obviously it was like October time, so again winter months, getting dark early, and it was just like, it was just a really dark place. Obviously luckily my now wife was my nurse and my cheerleader. Obviously we weren't living together then, so I was in Sheffield, she was in Huddersfield. She drove like 3 times a week to see me, to look after me and whatnot. And I think without her, I think I'd have been in a real state. So like she helped me through it, and then obviously I came out the cast in the April of 2021, and obviously lockdown was just starting to lift again. And I obviously got in talking with my friends that were obviously going back to work, and the amount of people that were talking about social anxiety. I don't want to go back to work. Like I want to work, but I don't want to work around people. Like for 18 months you were told, don't go out, don't speak to anyone, don't see anyone. Oh, now you can go back to work. It's like I don't like mixed emotions and stuff. And obviously a lot of my friends and a lot of people that were like DMing me on Instagram were like, do you feel like this, and like have you got any tips if you've been through this, like how did you deal with it? And it was just like a light bulb moment. It was obviously seemingly during lockdown everybody became an online coach. Don't really know how that was happening, because you couldn't get qualifications, but everyone was qualified. So it was like, how can I differentiate myself in a really saturated market? And it was like, there was only one thing. What have I got that no one else has got? My eating disorder. Like so since 2019 I've not come across a guy in the fitness industry that openly talks about their eating disorder. And it just seemed like a natural thing to try and separate myself. So it was like, I know how to get in shape, I know what to eat, but it's almost like, but I also know how to get my head right, and the things to do from getting over something and then carrying on being all right. So that's how James, the mental health PT, was born like 18 months ago.
Wow.
So and obviously, and ever since then, it's just been about doing things like this, like getting myself out there, doing work for like almost like bigger companies just to get some notoriety. Obviously, I work with about 7 months ago. I invested in a business mentor, because like business wise, in terms of being in the fitness industry, didn't have a clue. Like in terms of all these people that you see with all these like sales funnels and whatnot, I was like, how do you get clients, James? They message me on Instagram. But what do you do to actively? Nothing. I just post videos of myself working out. You think like, but you're doing all right. Oh, I could do better. Like obviously it was like, well, we can help you. So obviously in the last 7 months, working with a mentor, and obviously that's enabled me to build my own app. And obviously get to learn a lot more about the systems and the basically building the foundations. I thought the foundations were all right, because I knew what I was doing, but from a business point of view I was naive, immature. So it's obviously about, you have to, whether you're investing in your business or you're investing in yourself, like the returns on what you get are amazing, because you learn so much. It may not always come back, like the ROI isn't always from like a financial point of view, but it's like what you learn and the experience that you gain. obviously you can put a price on it because that's how much you need to invest in it. But obviously you learn and you have so much stuff to take away from it, and just feel like now I have everything ready. I've got my app, which I never thought I was going to have an app.
Yeah.
Like I remember looking up to like James Smith, the like the PT. And obviously he had an app, and it was like, oh, I'd love to have an app, just to have it and like build a little community. And it's like I'm 18 months in, and it's all starting to like build now, and it's just like it's brilliant. And it's just like the whole reason for it, obviously it all goes back to like my eating disorder. Like I know how much the gym helped me. Like I'm almost unrecognizable from my before and after pictures, and it's like to be able to give that to other people. Obviously I need money, I need the business to be successful, to put a roof over my head and have the things that I want in life. But I think in terms of just being able to give someone their life back and give them that desire, that fire in their belly, just to be like I want to be able to do X. It's like, okay, it's like that's your goal, so you reverse engineer it. So what are we going to do now to get to that goal? And it's like to build them habits and instill that discipline in them to the point where they've reached that goal. It's just like, I love that. It's like it's awesome.
You like that journey.
Yeah, and I think obviously without my experience, it would be good, but I don't think it would mean as much. So yeah.
So obviously we're talking now about, you know, the business and building a business. How hard do you find just being, well, you're a businessman technically. How hard do you find being a businessman?
It's difficult because it's the hardest thing you'll ever do, but it's you. So every win is your win. Obviously, every loss or every frustration is your frustration as well. But it's like those wins when you've whether it's you've tried to, I want to work with so and so, and you work with various people in the hope that they can get you that in the door with that person, and then when you get with that person and you end up working with that person, it's just like that fulfillment of like I wanted the goal, I've executed the plan, and it's come to fruition, and it's happened. It's like it's awesome because it's obviously you know, if it's your business, it's all you. You're the finance guy, you're the marketing guy, you're the sales guy, you're the content guy, and it's like there aren't enough hours in a day. And obviously I'm still learning, but yeah, I'm by far means perfect. It's just time management. It's so hard because you literally have to structure my calendar in my phone. Is crazy. It's like everything's like 2 hour slots. Just because otherwise I'll just be so fixated on one thing that I'll let everything else, like spinning plate analogy, isn't it? You have to spin all these plates and you have to give everyone the same amount of time, otherwise something dips. And it's just like, and then you've got your family as well to think about as well. So it's you only see, like, it's like Instagram, isn't it? Like you only see the successes. You only see the tip of the iceberg. You haven't seen all the years of trying, failing, learning, growing. Like, and people think, oh, it's fucking easy. It's like, it's not easy. It's worth it. It's not easy. Like there's no easy to it unless you win the lottery. But then you've learned nothing. You've just been given it. Like you haven't learned the processes and whatnot. And like all the things that are frustrating are the things that you're a bit like a sadist, aren't you? Like you hate them, but you love them all, but at the same time, because you know, like it'll all be worth it when it all pays off. And it's just like you're chasing that pot at the bottom of the rainbow, isn't it? In a way. So yeah.
What's been the hardest thing, like in business for yourself?
Naivety. Okay. Yeah, I think when you work with some big corporations and you think like, Christ, like this is gonna be it now. This is like, they've asked me to do this, they've asked me to do that, and obviously I always like ask my dad for advice, and obviously like my mentor now, obviously just the naivety was like before that, and I'd just go like hell for leather, like they want me to do this, so I'm gonna do it. It's like, you do it, you haven't sorted out a price with them because you're just, oh, I'm gonna do it for them. You do it, and it's like, now we went with someone else. It's like, but I've done all this work, and like we never asked you to do that. It was all, and it's like, it's naivety. It's like, and literally until you've got the order, or until you've got the money, or until you've got a deposit, it's not a win. Like, and it's obviously that's the naivety. Just because you got these big people talking to you, it doesn't mean anything. It's obviously like, it's just the start of a relationship. So I think naivety, because naivety leads into frustration, and you think like, what fucking idiot I was. Like, how can I not see it? But obviously, you learn from your mistakes. That's essentially that. So okay, a bit of a random question now. Do you feel money can buy happiness? Oh, that's a good one. I don't think it can buy happiness.
Yeah.
I think money gives you opportunities to do things that make you happy.
Yeah.
See, happiness comes from, to me, it comes from family, spending time with your family, but obviously sometimes to have experiences with your family that cost money. So if you don't have the money, you can't do the experiences. Like chicken and egg thing. It doesn't inherently make you happy, but it opens up doors that can fulfill happiness. Yeah.
Okay. And obviously, touching upon family now, obviously you're recently married.
Yes.
And you have a stepdaughter.
Yep.
So talk to us about that, because obviously we don't know this side of you. Obviously you're it's like you're like a cuddly bear as well, aren't you? Yeah.
Oh, I'd like to think so. Obviously that was obviously previous people the woman that I was dating that took me into the gym, like she had a daughter, so the dynamic wasn't new to me. I'd been in that environment before, but obviously not to this level where I'm now like a stepdad. And I think that was it wasn't until we got married and it was Father's Day, and obviously I got a card and a present, and it was just like, like, it didn't even enter my head. Obviously just little things like that. And I think it's been a learning curve. Obviously I'm still learning like the boundaries, because obviously like she's not my daughter. Obviously the dad still sees her, and obviously he is a great dad. And it's like you have to find your level, because you don't want to be overly like disciplining her. And obviously like I'd only bring I think I only try and parent how my parents brought me up. But obviously not everyone's parents bring me up. It's not the same way. So obviously there's just learning curves in like, my wife doesn't do the things how I do it. So when I say it, it's like it can be deemed as me being harsh. Obviously then I need to realise that she's been brought up a different way to me, so she's going to bring up her daughter a different way to me. So it's just communication and the balance. Like I can be grumpy, and I can be more of the bad cop. But I think I prefer the dynamic. I prefer me to be the bad cop than my wife to be the bad cop, because obviously then it's like mother-daughter relationship. They've got such a special bond, and it's like I prefer to be the bad guy to tell them off. And obviously like I am used as a last resort when it comes to if she's not listening to her mum. It's like, I'll get James up here. It's like I'll do it. So it's like it's a learning curve, but like anything, it's like it's something that I knew the dynamic from the start. I knew what I was getting into, and I love it. I love it.
And obviously the marriage is fairly recent as well. So how has it been kind of stepping into a new marriage with the business, and of course, being a stepdad?
Stressful. Stressful at times. Obviously, like any relationship it is. I think obviously time management has been a big issue with me. Like I said before, it's like when you're doing all these things for the business, it's like, and you also need to make time for your family. But it's like, I know that if I've got to get stuff done for work, almost like it's difficult. It is difficult, and I think there's the analogy of the triangle. You can only have, there's like three things that every man wants in his life: really good body, business, relationship. You can only ever have two at the same time.
I like that.
So it's like, so it's like, because my business is new, and it's like I try and do everything I can, and like client wants something, I'll do it. Like potential big partnership with someone, I'll do anything I can. So it's like the gym doesn't really suffer, because that's like a non-negotiable. It's just drummed into me. So it's like relationship suffers, and I'm not spending enough time, and when I am, I'm not present. And obviously again, it's still learning. It's also like everything like nothing's, you're never going to get it right like all the time. It's just trying to have that self-awareness that obviously if one weekend I'm busy working, the next weekend I have to be there. I have to be there, otherwise, it's like I said, like you wouldn't forgive yourself if the business made it, but your relationship didn't, because then you'd have regret for the rest of your life. So it's like it is a balancing act. And obviously I'm still like 18 months is nothing in business, is it? When you look at like how like my dad's been in business for like 45 years. And it's like, and obviously he still says that he's learning every day. So it's like 18 months, I'm a newbie. So everything's a learning curve.
Every day is a new day in business.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
we're never the
100%.
same. What's next for you? What's the next step?
Next step for me this year is obviously it's business side. It's growing the corporate side of my business. My big thing this year, I did a couple of like resilience talks within companies and schools and colleges last year, and I absolutely loved it. So to be able to showcase my story and like the little hints and tips and of how to deal, firstly like how to deal with it within yourself, but almost like signposting people that if you feel that someone's like struggling. So it's like I'm working with like my mentor to build the corporate side of things now, to hopefully go into businesses and almost be that external like resource for mental health. To obviously to understand the signs like within yourself and within other people, and then obviously like trying to create like an action plan, something within them that they know that is like their coping mechanism. So if they feel themselves starting to slip, it's obviously speaking with people, but also you have to action upon it yourself as well, because talking about it is all well and good, it's an important step, but if you don't do anything with it after talking about it, it's just there. It's like, yeah, everybody knows that you're struggling, but if you're not doing anything about it, it's only going to get worse. So action is like speaking about it, so you're honest with yourself, you're honest with other people, and obviously that helps because people are going to be more looking out for you. But obviously ultimately it's only you that can change, and obviously that's whereby I feel that obviously my lived shared experience is hopefully going to be able to become useful for companies to be able to just educate their staff and help them. See, to me it's like a win-win situation. Like company, the image that the worker has for the corporate upstairs is like it's never been any worse than it is. Obviously, like with the cost of living crisis, but obviously if you're a manager or director of a company, you probably haven't noticed the cost of living crisis. And it's like for the companies to give something back where they're actively helping their workforce improves like the relationship that they have. Obviously, like staff feel better because they feel supported and they're actually getting direct lived experience from someone, and obviously they can speak to me after, they can work on it themselves, and obviously ultimately the company then potentially has a reduction in staff absences, productivity goes up. So it's like everybody wins in that situation. So that's the business plan for this year, obviously, as well as obviously growing the social media and obviously my app, and obviously developing the client base and whatnot. But obviously like relationship wise, it's obviously looking at getting a house, and obviously once we've got a house, or depending where we're at like financially, it's like house and obviously then exploring the like the sperm donor route with my wife. So it's obviously like it hasn't been an ideal start to marriage, but what is ideal? Like life is never linear, is it? It's always ups and downs, and it has been difficult, and the worst place I've been in mentally since my eating disorder. Like not gonna lie about that. But obviously like I kind of know, like I've obviously had to ask for help, and there's no shame in that at all. And it's obviously I've had to like dig down on the things that helped me with my recovery to start with. But you think like you get over this, and it's just it probably is like a what's next. Something else will come. And you just got to deal with that as well, because otherwise it's like if you go down, it's like everything goes down, doesn't it? Like my business goes down, my marriage is probably going to go down, and then you've got no motivation to get yourself back up. There's no real reason for you to get up, because everything you had is gone. So it's even more important just to like have that anchor within yourself to keep yourself up.
Wow.
So
I have got something for you.
Oh.
So obviously it's been absolutely an inspirational story. So we have Real Boss.
Oh, I love
you
that.
Don't quit because you don't.
Yeah.
As you can tell, and that is for you to take away. And just what a nice little memento.
Nice. Brilliant. I appreciate that. Cheers,
no worries. It's
thank
been
you.
a pleasure having you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and thank you so much. It's been an unbelievable story.
Cool. I appreciate you having me.
So much stuff. Obviously you've spoken about it. I really appreciate it. So I know it's tough, and you're so positive, and things will obviously get better. And,
yeah.
I know you'll be touching that sky, going way past the sky into the flipping stratosphere.
Hope so. That's the plan. That's the goal.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right, bud. So thank you so much. Is there anything that you need from me?
No.